Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Mandalorian Playing Cards from Theory 11. So just before we crack the deck open and take a look at the cards, I want to start with this box. Because this box is quite something, isn't it? I mean, what a thing to look at. And what a thing to display as well. That's what I really like about Theory 11. Their boxes are always so elaborate, so finely detailed. It just makes you want to put this on display. And I will be displaying this deck because I think it's fantastic. By the way, just a heads up, as we get into this review, there might be spoilers. So if you're one of the few people that hasn't seen The Mandalorian, then please go and watch it. Not just to avoid spoilers, but also because it is really, really good. It has given us some of the best Star Wars out there. So if you're a fan of Star Wars, then definitely go and see it. But going back to the box, this is fantastic. The use of colour here is just unbelievable. It's not just silver, there's also some red peeking through and some really good use of black. And all of this is embossed. There are so many bumps and grooves, really makes it feel so 3D. And my first thought actually when I opened the package and saw this was that it feels like it should be heavier than a deck of cards just because of all of that silver. It really makes it feel like this has been forged out of Beskar, which is what I'm sure they were going for, and if the designers were going for that, they have absolutely succeeded. So just taking a look at the edges of the box, previous Star Wars decks have opted to go for Star Wars quotes, which I think was appropriate, but the Mando deck has taken that in a slightly different direction, which I do really appreciate. Instead of a Star Wars quote, we get two characters on either end. So here, obviously, we have Mando's helmet, and over here we have Keel, or however you want to pronounce it, and then the Mandalorian logo right there in the center. On the other edge, two more characters. We have the child, and we have IG-88, which is, again, a really great inclusion. This is more sort of Series 1 themed, I imagine, which I don't blame them for at all. I think there's going to be a lot more Series 1 in this than Series 2, just because of the amount of time it takes to make a deck of cards. They will not have had time to cram a lot of Series 2 stuff in here, if any. I really don't know. I haven't looked at the cards yet. So the back of the box is really, really good, and I'm interested to know if this will be the back design. My guess is that it will be. We have two Mando helmets right there. In the center, I was expecting something in the center, but it's actually just a sort of shape, a generic shape. We have, obviously, the sort of emblems. Across the bottom, just the logos that are, you know, all of the logos you could need. And then across the other side, obviously this sticker, which we'll take a look at in just a second in a bit more detail. But then underneath that sticker, across the top, it is, "Do you gamble, Mando?" That's the quote they've gone for. That is an interesting one. Do you gamble, Mando? Okay, interesting. Another quote across the top that I did miss, tiny little detail here. It just says, "This is the way," which of course had to be on the box. What other quote could they go for? Theory 11 just at the bottom there. And then this sticker, which I feel like needs a moment of the video to itself. Kind of difficult to show up on camera, but it just has a little image of the child, and then around the outside it just says Mandalorian and Theory 11. But a great sticker, and all of these customizations are really, really appreciated. For the collector, for the magician, just for the Mandalorian fan, I think that this really adds to it. So cracking the box open then on this tab right here, of course it had to get a look in. This is the Razor Crest, a much appreciated inclusion, RIP the Razor Crest. And then on the smaller tabs, some little Mandalorian symbols, the symbols of Mandalore. Excellent inclusions. And now it's time for the big moment. What do the cards look like? Wow. Okay, interesting. Okay, initial impressions are that I think this is really, really good. Obviously, the box is, I mean, that's one of the things about Theory 11, one of the criticisms is that the box is always so elaborate that when you take the cards out, it is a little bit of a disappointment. But I think when you're ready for that difference in, you know, obviously the cards can't be embossed and foiled quite as much as the box. So when you're ready for that difference, I think it's really interesting to see what the cards look like. And in this case, there isn't a lot of colour, but what there is, all of these different shapes and objects that come through, I think it's really, really strong. If we spread this out, yeah, this feels good. This feels really, really good. Not just in terms of like the actual feel of the cards, but the images themselves, I think they really, really work. So just taking a look at the back design then, obviously we have these Mando helmets. We have the child carriers. Now that's really, really interesting. These circular things at the top, they are the carriers that the child sits in. Interesting that they've got the pram on there. Again, more iconography of Mandalore, these sort of tapes almost. I really like the sort of cross shape that is made across the deck. And it doesn't feel too packed either. It sort of keeps that traditional feeling of deck of cards, you know, the two objects that most decks of cards have, that sort of mirror imagery. This card, by the way, this first top card, is just an ad card. And obviously it says, "This is the way." I feel like that quote might be repeated a couple of times throughout this deck. Wow, okay. I mean, I wasn't expecting that when I looked down. I just turned the deck over, I look down, and I see a Jawa. And a Tusken, no way, this is fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Oh, I couldn't have picked two better things for the Jokers. My worry was they were going to put the child on the Joker, and I don't think the child should be on the Joker. I think the child is probably going to be the Ace of Spades. Again, I haven't looked at the cards at all, none of the promotional imagery, but my guess is if the Jawa and the Tusken Raider, the Sand People, are the Jokers, then surely, surely, yes, the child is the Ace of Spades. Okay, let's take this one at a time. I think this is fantastic. One of my complaints about the other Star Wars deck was that the Jokers shouldn't have been BB-8 and D-O. I think they should have been R2-D2 and C-3PO. And here I think they've nailed it. The choice of character is fantastic. The Tusken Raider in that sort of art style. I mean, if these were larger prints, I would happily have them on my wall. You know, that is the level of art we're dealing with here. Really, really appreciated. And then the Ace of Spades is, of course, the child, Grogu, and we have the carrier right here. What does it say across this? Oh, it just says the child. Interesting. And then it has the same in Star Wars language. Interesting. I think it's really, really good. I mean, Yoda was the Ace of Spades on the other Star Wars deck, so to have essentially Baby Yoda, you know, if we're gonna use that, then I think that's just the perfect character for this card. Taking a look at the cards themselves, these are fairly standard. Obviously the pips are, you know, slightly different, but in terms of consistency, they are fully consistent across the faces. And then we get to, interesting, then we get to the Jack of Spades. So this is the Dark Trooper. I said there wouldn't be much Season 2 stuff, that was just a prediction. Turns out there is some Season 2 stuff, and that is really, really good. And again, we have a Flame Trooper. Again, I might be getting the exact names of the troopers slightly wrong here, so apologies to my ultra Star Wars nerds. Obviously, I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd myself, but sometimes the names of things fly past me just a tiny bit, so apologies about that. This is a Flame Trooper. For the Queen of Spades, a Flame Trooper. Interesting. I mean, the Flame Trooper was really, really important at the end of Series 1, so I understand why they've gone for that, and maybe the Spades are going to be more about the troopers. So, yeah, okay, interesting. The King of Spades. I think that artwork is fantastic. It really, really captures the Moth himself. Let's just take a moment on this card, because there's something important here. The Dark Saber. And I think they've nailed it. They've kept the art style that I think we're used to of, you know, swords being held in playing cards' hands. That's not something that's unusual. But to have a dark saber on a playing card, imagine, imagine being handed this card or this deck, you know, like 5 years ago. What would people think? They would be so confused. First of all, The Mandalorian for me was a great surprise. I wasn't expecting a lot from it, and I certainly wasn't expecting a Mando deck. Already this is looking very, very positive. And then we come to the Ace of Diamonds. This is not showing up brilliantly on camera. This is Horatio Sands, the fish man with his gills right there. I don't think the colour is brilliant. It's not coming across brilliantly on camera, the actual image of him in the Ace of Diamonds, and it isn't really coming across brilliantly in person either. That sort of, I don't know what colour you'd call that, if it's grey. I think a more striking bluey green would have been better. This is sort of feeling a little bit washed out. Not my favourite card so far, but I think the art style, if it was just in another colour, would have just popped a little bit more. Then we have the diamonds, and they're quite curvy, sort of inward concave diamonds. Really like that style of diamonds. And then, of course, we have Mr. Mayfeld himself, one of my favourite characters from The Mandalorian, by the way. Bill Burr does a fantastic job of playing this character, and I'm so glad that he is on my favourite card in any deck, the Jack of Diamonds. That is brilliant. I could not have asked for a better character to be on Jack of Diamonds. Those dual guns look fantastic, and it really looks like Bill Burr as well, that art style. I've got to say, it's nailed it. These borders are interesting as well, not something I've pointed up on just yet, but these sort of borders, they're not just gold borders, they have lots of ridges and sort of dips and grooves to them, almost like feeling mechanical in a way, which really fits on this card especially, just because of those mechanical arms that have the guns. So there is Megs Mayfeld, and whoa, okay, this is interesting, Queen of Diamonds. Yeah, I've got to say, if I had to pick a character for the Queen of Diamonds, it would be Fennec Shand, and they've got the sort of slits in her mask perfectly. I'm so glad they went for a more masked version of Fennec Shand, because I think that look is just fantastic. The weapon at the side, the fist, it's perfect. What can I say? I think this is a perfect card. So far, I'm really, really impressed. This is what I wanted from a Mando deck, this is what I want from a Star Wars deck, and we're only halfway through. Fantastic. Fennec Shand right there. They've nailed it, honestly. And then King of Diamonds, my man, IG88. Yes! I'm so happy that IG88 got a look in. Again, another one of my favourite characters on the King of Diamonds right there. Fantastic. I loved IG88. I thought he was so funny. A really, really good character. And unusual to see such a slender character on a playing card. You know, a droid. You never really see that. But I'm so glad that he takes one of the kings in the deck, because he is a king in my heart. And next up, we have the King of Clubs. Now, forgive me. I don't think I know the name of this character. This isn't the Mandalorian, this isn't Din, but this is a Mandalorian, and it's interesting that a Mandalorian has taken the King of Clubs in this case, and I think that is really, really good, but I'm not entirely sure who it is, which is a shame, because there's a lot of characters they could have gone for that I would instantly recognise, and I think having a Mandalorian is a bit of an unusual one. So moving on from the King of Clubs, which I don't think is one of my favourite cards, I'm going to say, but I think it's a neat inclusion. Oh wow, the Queen of Clubs, however, I'm a fan of. The Armourer, yes! The Armourer getting some respect. The Queen of Clubs, yeah, again, another fantastic character, and they've really captured the look of this. This is interesting because a lot of these characters, you don't see their face. So having masks rather than faces, I think is actually doing this deck a lot of good. Although they really got Megs Mayfeld's face correctly, I think that sometimes this art style sort of falls down at the subtleties of people's faces. You know, faces are difficult to draw, and so if you can do a mask, then instantly it's more recognisable. And this is the Armourer, which I think they've done perfectly, holding the hammer, which, yeah, is very, very fitting. And wow, goodness me, okay. The Jack of Clubs, yeah, instantly recognisable. This is Boba Fett. I mean, of course it is. This is great, obviously, this is fantastic, and to have Boba Fett in this deck of cards is brilliant, because as far as I'm aware, off the top of my head, I don't think he was in the other Star Wars decks, so to finally get Boba Fett getting some respect, getting some attention in a Star Wars deck is fantastic. I know that the Slave One was in the previous Star Wars decks, but not Boba himself, so to have both is brilliant. And I mean, this is Boba Fett, right? The more I'm looking at it, I'm doubting it slightly. I don't think the colour is doing it any favours. Once again, this colour isn't right. I don't think the colouring is right here. It is making me question if this is even Boba Fett, which I don't think it should do at all. The colour of Boba Fett is quite a distinctive colour, and they've gone for something that, I mean, that's sort of grey, that's like a bluey grey colour, which isn't what Boba Fett is. He is green. There is quite a distinctive shade of green. Obviously there's other colours involved there, but this main colour, I don't know, I'm not quite getting it. I'm not quite seeing what they were going for here. Again, it's with that other character, Horatio. They got his colour slightly off as well. I'm not sure what that's about. Then we come on to the rest of the clubs, and these are, again, those sort of standard clubs. The Ace of Clubs is a Scout Trooper. Interesting. Yeah, I like that a lot. Very striking. Obviously that black and white, really, really works. I really like the Ace of Clubs, that's fantastic. Then we get to the King of Hearts, and this is Mando himself, instantly recognizable. That weapon, the helmet, brilliant. And I think the colour here is perfect, because that is the colour of the Mandalorian. But I don't think, I mean, Boba Fett and Mando here are pretty much the same colour. Yeah, they are the same colour, which is wrong. I mean, they're not the same colour. That's one thing, really, that, you know, distinguishes them. So, I don't know what was going on with that other card. But this one is brilliant. And the King of Hearts, that's a great card. I think having him as the heart is brilliant, because that is sort of what the show is about. It is about a cold-hearted killer finally sort of finding, you know, love, finding his heart. So yeah, fantastic. Then we come to Cara Dune, which is a well done card, actually. I've got to say that looks a lot like the actress. Not really much I can say, it just looks really accurate to the character. And then finally, this final court card anyway, is Grief Karga. Yeah, brilliant. Again, another really, really accurate bit of artwork. They seem to have improved on the previous Star Wars deck, where I thought some of the artwork didn't quite look like what it was meant to. For instance, Luke Skywalker I thought looked too similar to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi card I didn't think even really looked that much like Obi-Wan. I thought those two were sort of slight misses. The rest of them were great, but I think here they've returned to form with some of the fantastic artwork they had in the last one. This is brilliant, yeah, really, really brilliant. Then the hearts, and we come to the Ace of Hearts, which is Keel, however you say it, I'm still not sure. Is it a Q or a K? I don't know, Keel. There he is, getting some love on the Ace of Hearts, fantastic. And then I think we are wrapped up with every single card. There is one last ad card, which is weird that there are two ad cards that really serve no purpose. I think that's a waste of two cards. One ad card would have been fine. I think they could have done something a little bit creative on the other card. Just a little bit of artwork. Maybe give us Slave One. Maybe give us another ship. Or, you know, something interesting, a little bit more artwork rather than two ad cards. But I really can't complain, because this is a fantastic deck of cards, and something that I've been looking forward to for such a long time. As for handling, as for all those things, it's a Theory 11 deck. What more can I say? The handling is just about as good as you can get. The cards themselves just operate perfectly, but I don't think this is something that I'm going to be performing with. This is, for me, just adding to my collection, adding to not only my playing card collection, but my Star Wars collection. I'm a Star Wars nerd, what can I say? Anything like this is really appreciated. This is going to go very well. It will be a fine addition to my collection. And overall, I have to say that this deck of cards, this is the way. This is absolutely brilliant. I've got to give it a 9 out of 10. Overall, I'm really, really impressed. A couple of cards. I think Boba Fett should have been a different colour, but I mean, we're nitpicking. We're nitpicking. It's a brilliant deck of cards overall. And this has been my review of the Mandalorian Playing Cards. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I honestly loved making this video, taking a look at these cards. These really are something special. So thanks for watching. And if you got to this point of the video, then make sure to click the thumbs up button down below. That is really, really appreciated, really helps me out. And if you're new to the channel and you've never seen a video from me before, if you just came for the cards, then consider subscribing. We're a small channel. I do playing card reviews, tutorials, I react to Magic, talk about Magic in the playing card industry, all that sort of stuff. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then feel free to subscribe. And I'm also going to be doing a throwback review, taking a look at all 5 Star Wars decks, just seeing which one's my favourite, which one's my least favourite, and yeah, that's just going to be a lot of fun taking a look at these, because I can't believe there are 5 of them now. It's mad. I can't wait for the next Star Wars deck from Theory 11. I hope there will be more. I think that's everything though, so I will see you very soon for more videos.